Stand Tall, Episode 2, Aftermath. Narrator, J. Thompson. The morning comes differently. I wake at 6:30, same as always, but something in the air has shifted through my window. The estate looks identical to yesterday, same grey towers, same cracked tarmac, same rubbish bins overflowing by the stairwell, but it feels like the whole place is holding its breath. Have you ever noticed how a place can change without changing? How the same walls, same streets, same faces suddenly mean something else entirely? I pull on yesterday's tracksuit bottoms and a clean t-shirt, moving quiet so I don't wake Mum. She's got the early shift at the care home, and she needs every minute of sleep she can get. The flat is cold. Our heating's been dodgy since October, and the council keeps saying they'll send someone round. They never do. My phone lights up on the bedside table. 3 messages from Marcus, all sent after midnight. I don't open them yet. I already know what they'll say. In the kitchen, I pour myself some cereal and stand by the window, looking down at the courtyard 6 floors below. A few people are already moving about. Mrs. Chen heading to the bus stop with her shopping trolley. 2 lads I don't recognize cutting through toward the main road. Normal. Everything looks normal, but I can feel it. That thing that happens when something shifts and everyone's waiting to see what comes next. Last night, Deco stood up to Tyler. Proper stood up to him, and Tyler backed down. That should have been the end of it, should have been. I eat my cereal standing up, watching the estate wake. By 7, there's more movement. The school run starting, people heading to work, the usual flow of morning. I check my phone properly now. Marcus's messages are exactly what I expected. You seen Deco? People are talking. We need to chat before school. Yeah, I text back, meet you at the bins in 10. Our usual spot, the recycling area behind Block C, where you can see anyone coming from 3 directions. We've been meeting there since year 7, back when we thought we were being proper strategic about it. Now it's just habit. I grab my school bag, check Mum's still asleep, and head out. The stairwell smells like piss and bleach. That combination that never quite cancels itself out. Someone's drawn a new tag on the wall between the 5th and 4th floors. Crude letters spelling out a postcode I don't recognize. The lift's broken again, so it's 6 flights down. My trainer's squeaking on the concrete steps. The thing about estates like ours is that news travels faster than truth. By the time a story makes it round the blocks, it's grown 3 sizes and changed shape completely. I push through the heavy door at the bottom and step out into the courtyard. The air's sharp, that October cold that gets in your bones. Marcus is already waiting by the bins, hood up, hands shoved deep in his pockets. He's got that look on his face, the one that means he's been overthinking since he woke up. All right, I say, keeping it casual. You heard? Marcus doesn't waste time. Heard what? About last night, what people are saying. I lean against the brick wall, feeling the cold seep through my t-shirt. What are they saying? Marcus glances around, checking we're alone. Depends who you ask. Some people saying Deco proper went at Tyler. Others saying Tyler was about to bang him out, but Deco's boys showed up. Someone told me they heard there was a knife. There wasn't a knife. I know there wasn't a knife, bruv. I'm telling you what people are saying. And there it is, the story growing, changing, becoming something it never was. Where's Deco? I ask. Marcus shrugs. Haven't seen him. He's not answering his phone. That's not like Deco. He's always on his phone, always responding within minutes. The fact that he's gone quiet means something. We start walking toward the main road, taking the long route past the community center. The morning's properly started now. More people about, cars queuing at the junction, the sound of a radio playing from someone's open window. Everything normal, everything different. You worried? I ask Marcus. He takes a moment before answering. Yeah, I am. About Deco, about all of it, about what happens next. Marcus has always been the one who sees round corners, who thinks 3 moves ahead. Sometimes I wish he didn't. We pass the chicken shop, still closed at this hour. Metal shutters covered in faded posters for events that happened months ago. There's a group of older lads outside the bookies, smoking, talking low. They clocked us as we pass. One of them nods. We nod back. That's how it works. Acknowledgement without engagement. There he is, Marcos says quietly. Deco's sitting on the low wall outside the community center alone, staring at his phone. Even from a distance, I can see the tension in his shoulders. He's wearing the same jacket as yesterday, hood up, despite the fact it's not raining. We approach slowly. Deco looks up, sees us, looks back down at his phone. All right, I say, same as I said to Marcus. Deco nods but doesn't speak. Marcus and I exchange a glance. This isn't right. Deco's never quiet. He's the one who fills silences, who keeps the energy up, who makes everything feel lighter than it is. You good? Marcus asks. Yeah, you sure? I said, yeah, didn't I? And there's the edge, that defensive snap that means he's anything but good. I sit down on the wall next to him, leaving space. Marcus stays standing, shifting his weight from foot to foot. For a minute, none of us spoke. A bus rumbles past, brakes squealing. Someone's dog barks from a balcony above us. People are chatting. Deco says eventually, still looking at his phone. We heard, saying all sorts, saying I bottled it, saying Tyler would have sparked me if you lot hadn't been there, saying I'm moving like I'm someone I'm not. His voice is flat, controlled. That's worse than if he was angry. You know, that's bollocks, Marcus says. Do I? You stood up to him, you didn't back down, that's what happened. Deco finally looks up and I see something in his face I've never seen before. Not fear exactly, something closer to uncertainty, like he's questioning everything he thought he knew about himself. Then why does it feel like I lost, he asks. And that's the question, isn't it? When standing up feels like backing down. When doing the right thing leaves you feeling wrong. Before either of us can answer, a voice cuts across the courtyard. Oi. We all turn. It's Leanne, Deco's older sister, striding toward us with that walk that means business. She's in her work uniform, black trousers, white shirt, name badge clipped to her pocket. She works at the Tesco Metro on the high street, has done since she left college. What did I tell you, she says, pointing at Deco. What did I literally tell you last night? Deco stands up. Lee, not now. Yes, now. You think I don't hear things? You think people don't talk to me? Mrs. Morrison stopped me this morning, asking if you were all right, saying she heard you were in trouble. I'm not in trouble. Then why is everyone acting like you are? Deco doesn't have an answer for that. Leanne looks at Marcus and me, then back at her brother. Her expression softens slightly, but only slightly. You lot care too much about what people think. You know that. Too much about reputation, about looking a certain way, about not being seen as weak. And you know what happens when you care that much? You make yourself weak. That's not Deco starts. It is exactly that. You're so worried about looking strong that you're letting other people's words control you. You're giving them power over how you feel about yourself. She's right, of course she's right, but knowing something's true and feeling it are two different things. Leanne checks her watch. I've got to get to work, but I'm telling you now, let it go. Whatever happened, whoever said whatever, let it go. Don't feed it, don't give it oxygen, just let it die. She walks away without waiting for a response, her footsteps sharp on the tarmac. The three of us stand there in the wake of her words. A crisp packet skitters across the courtyard, caught by the wind. Somewhere a car alarm starts wailing. She doesn't get it, Deco says quietly. Maybe she does, Marcus replies. We don't go to school. It's not a decision we make explicitly. We just start walking in the opposite direction, and none of us suggests turning back. By 8:30, we're sitting on the swings in the small park behind Block F, the one with the broken roundabout and the climbing frame that's been condemned for 2 years but never removed. The park's empty except for us. Too early for the mums with toddlers, too late for the night crew. Just us and the sound of the swings creaking. Sometimes you need space to think. Sometimes school feels like the last place you can do that. My mum's going to kill me, Marcus says, but he doesn't move. Mine too, I add. Deco says nothing. He's dragging his feet in the dirt, creating patterns, destroying them, creating new ones. You remember last summer, Marcus says, after a while. I know exactly what he's talking about. We all do. Yeah, that's how it started. Just like this. Something small that grew. Rumors, tension, people choosing sides over nothing, and then suddenly it wasn't nothing anymore. Last summer, the thing we don't talk about but all remember. 2 groups of lads, different estates, a misunderstanding that became a confrontation that became something worse. Someone ended up in hospital, someone else ended up in custody, and for weeks afterward, the whole area felt like it was balanced on a knife edge. That's the thing about violence. It doesn't usually start with violence. It starts with pride, with fear, with the feeling that you have to prove something or lose everything. This is different, Deco says, but his voice lacks conviction. Is it? Marcus asks. Before Deco can answer, we hear footsteps. All 3 of us tense, heads turning towards the sound. But it's just Mr. Reid, the youth worker from the community center, walking across the grass towards us. Mr. Reid's in his 50s, tall with graying hair and the kind of face that's seen enough to not be surprised by much. He's been running the center for years, long before any of us were old enough to go there. Everyone knows him. Everyone respects him. Thought I might find you lot here, he says, stopping a few feet away. Shouldn't you be in school? None of us answer. Mr. Reid nods like our silence tells him everything he needs to know. Come on, let's go inside. It's cold out here. The community center smells like floor polish and instant coffee. Mr. Reid leads us through the main hall, past the notice board covered in flyers for activities nobody attends, into his small office at the back. There's barely room for the 4 of us, but we squeeze in. Marcus and me on the battered sofa, Deco in the plastic chair by the desk, Mr. Reid leaning against the filing cabinet. He doesn't ask what's wrong, doesn't push, just waits. That's Mr. Reid's way. He knows that sometimes people need silence before they can find words. Eventually, Deco speaks. You heard what happened? I heard several versions of what happened, none of them probably true. Tyler was given it large. I told him to move. He moved. And now? And now everyone's acting like it's something bigger than it was. Mr. Reid nods slowly. That's how these things work. A moment happens and then people start feeding it, adding to it, making it grow. Before you know it, the moment's not yours anymore. It belongs to everyone else and they're all writing the story. So what do I do? Deco asks, and there's something raw in his voice, something vulnerable. You leave it where it happened. You don't feed it. You don't respond to every version of the story. You don't try to control what people think. You just keep moving forward. But people think I'm weak. Do they? Or do you think they think that? Deco doesn't answer. Mr. Reid shifts his weight, crossing his arms. I've seen this play out 100 times. Someone feels disrespected. They respond, then they spend weeks, months, sometimes years trying to manage how that response is perceived, trying to prove something. And you know what happens? They lose themselves in the proving. They become the story instead of the person. I think about that, about becoming the story, about how easy it would be to let this thing define us. Last summer, Marcus says quietly, that's what you're talking about, isn't it? Mr. Reid looks at him. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That started with 2 lads who felt disrespected, who felt they had to prove something. And it grew because everyone around them fed it. Everyone had an opinion. Everyone took a side. Everyone made it bigger than it needed to be. Someone got stabbed, I say. Someone got stabbed, Mr. Reid agrees, over nothing, over pride, over the fear of being seen as weak. The office feels smaller suddenly, the walls closer, the air thicker. Deco's looking at his hands. I don't want to be weak. Then don't be, but understand what strength actually is. Strength isn't about how loud you are or how much you respond to every challenge. Strength is knowing who you are and not needing everyone else to validate it. Strength is walking away from fights that don't matter. Strength is choosing your battles. Tyler's got his own issues, his own insecurities, his own need to prove something. That's not your problem. Don't make it your problem. I watch Deco process this. Watch him trying to reconcile what Mr. Reid's saying with everything he's been taught about respect, about standing up for yourself, about not being a target. It's hard, Deco says finally. I know it is. But here's what I'll tell you. Do things that make you strong, not loud, strong. Focus on what actually matters. Your education, your family, your real friends, the person you want to become, not the person other people think you should be. The words hang in the air. Outside, we can hear the sound of the center coming to life, doors opening, voices, the clatter of chairs being set up for something. Mr. Reid straightens up. You lot should get to school. You've already missed first period, but you can make second. We stand, file out of the office, but as we reach the door, Mr. Reid calls after us. One more thing, whatever you decide together. Don't let this split you up. Don't let other people's stories come between you. That's when things really go wrong. We walk to school slowly, taking the back route that adds 10 minutes but avoids the main road. None of us speak much. We're all processing, all thinking. Mr. Reid's words make sense. Of course they do. But sense and feeling are different countries, and the border between them isn't always easy to cross. The estate looks different in the mid-morning light, quieter. Most people are at work or school, just the usual daytime crowd, pensioners, shift workers, people who exist in the gaps between the rush hours. But I noticed something. The way people look at us as we pass. Not hostile exactly, not threatening, just measuring. Like they're trying to work out what we are, what we might become. Mrs. Morrison's on her balcony watering her plants. She sees us, pauses, then gives a small wave. We wave back. She asked my sister if I was all right, Deco says. She's just worried, Marcus replies. Everyone's worried. Everyone's watching, like they're waiting for something to happen. And maybe they are. Maybe that's what happens when you live somewhere like this. You learn to read the signs. You learn to sense when the temperature's rising. You learn to watch. We cut through the alley between the shops, past the barbers and the phone repair place and the Caribbean takeaway that only opens in the evenings. There's graffiti on every surface, tags, declarations, crude drawings, the accumulated marks of everyone who's passed through here, trying to leave evidence they existed. As we emerge onto the street near school, we see her, Aaliyah. She's walking about 20 meters ahead of us, school bag over her shoulder, headphones in, completely in her own world. Aaliyah's in our year, but not in our circle. She's one of those people who seems to exist outside all the drama. She goes to school, does her work, goes home. No beef with anyone, no sides. Just her own path. We watch her turn into the school gates, disappearing into the flow of students. That's what Mr. Reid means, Marcus says quietly. That's what it looks like, just living your life without all the noise. Easy for her, Deco mutters. Is it? I ask. We reach the gates. The school's a sprawling brick building, 3 stories, windows covered in displays of student work that nobody looks at. There's the usual crowd outside, people finishing cigarettes they're not supposed to have, couples saying goodbye, groups of lads doing that thing where they're not quite ready to go inside yet. Several people clock us as we approach. I see the looks, the nudges, the whispered conversations. And there there it is again, that feeling of being watched, of being part of a story we didn't write. We sign in late at reception. The woman behind the desk gives us a look but doesn't ask questions. She's seen it all before. We head to our lockers, grab our books, prepare to slip into second period like nothing happened. But as we walk down the corridor, I feel it, that shift, that change in the air. People looking, people talking, the story growing. Lunchtime is when it really hits. The canteen's packed, loud, with the sound of hundreds of conversations happening at once. We get our food, some kind of pasta that's more sauce than anything else, and find a table near the back, our usual spot. But people keep looking over, keep glancing our way, and I realize that we've become something, not just us anymore, something else, something people have opinions about. This is doing my head in, Deco says, pushing his food around his plate. Just ignore it, Marcus says, but even he sounds uncertain. A group of year 10s walk past our table. One of them, a lad called Jamal, who I've seen around but never spoken to, slows down. Oi, Deco, heard you had beef with Tyler. Deco looks up. It's nothing. Didn't sound like nothing. Heard you proper went at him. It wasn't like that. So what was it like? And there it is, the invitation to feed the story, to make it bigger, to claim it. Deco's jaw tightens. I can see him wrestling with it. The urge to set the record straight, to control the narrative, to prove something. It was nothing, he says again, looking back down at his food. Jamal shrugs. All right, just asking. He walks away, but I can see him talking to his friends, see them looking back at us. You handled that well, I say quietly. Did I? Feels like I just looked weak again. You looked like someone who's not feeding the drama. That's different. But I can see it's not landing. Can see that Deco's still caught between what he knows he should do and what he feels he needs to do. The rest of lunch passes in a strange tension. We eat, we talk about nothing important, we try to act normal, but the weight of everyone's attention presses down on us. As we're leaving the canteen, we pass Alia again. She's sitting alone, reading a book, completely absorbed. She doesn't even notice us walk by. Must be nice, Deco says, watching her. What? Not caring, just doing your own thing. Maybe she cares, Marcus says. Maybe she just doesn't show it. Or maybe she's actually free, I add. Maybe that's what it looks like when you're not trapped in everyone else's story. We keep walking. The afternoon stretches ahead of us. More lessons, more looks, more whispers, the story growing with every hour. By the time school ends, the whole thing feels massive, not because anything else has happened, but because everyone's acting like something has, like we're at the center of something significant. We walk home together, the three of us, taking the same route we always take, but it feels different. The estate feels different, like it's watching us, waiting. There, Marcus says, nodding toward Block D. I follow his gaze. There's a group of lads I don't recognize standing by the entrance. 5 or 6 of them. They're not from our estate. I can tell by the way they're standing too alert, too aware of their surroundings. Visitors, they clock us. We clock them for a moment. Everyone just looks. Then one of them nods. Not friendly, not hostile, just acknowledgement. We nod back and keep walking. Who are they? I ask when we're out of earshot. Don't know, Marcus says, but they're not here by accident. And that's the thing that's been building all day, that sense that something's shifting, that the story's growing beyond us, that other people are starting to pay attention. We reach the courtyard between our blocks. It's late afternoon now, that time when the light starts to change, when shadows grow longer. There are more people about than usual, small groups standing around, talking, watching. This is mad, Deco says. Nothing even happened, nothing, and everyone's acting like we're in the middle of some war. That's how it starts though, isn't it? Marcus says, and there's something in his voice, something that sounds like fear. Last summer, that's how it started. Nothing happened, and then everyone acted like something did. And then something actually did happen because everyone was expecting it to. I think about last summer again, about how quickly things escalated, about how fear and expectation can create their own reality. We're not doing that, I say firmly. We're not feeding it. We're just going to keep our heads down and let it die. And if it doesn't die, Deco asks, I don't have an answer for that. We're about to split up, each heading to our own block when we see Mr. Reid again. He's walking across the courtyard, carrying a box of something. He sees us, changes direction, comes over. How was school? He asks. Weird, Marcus says. Mr. Reid nods. I've been hearing things, people talking, making this bigger than it is. What do we do? I ask. You keep doing what you're doing. You don't engage, you don't feed it, you let it starve. He pauses, looking at each of us in turn. But I'll tell you something else. You need to understand that you're not just making decisions for yourselves right now. You're making decisions for everyone who's watching, everyone who's trying to work out what kind of people you are, what kind of men you're going to become. The weight of that sits heavy, the idea that we are not just ourselves, that we're examples, symbols, stories that other people will tell. That's a lot of pressure, Deco says. It is. But that's life on an estate like this. Everything you do matters. Everything you choose ripples out. You can't control what other people say or think, but you can control who you are. And right now you get to decide, are you going to belong to this story or are you going to write your own? He doesn't wait for an answer, just nods and walks away, leaving us standing there in the fading light. Evening comes slowly. I'm in my flat, trying to do homework, but mostly staring out the window. The estate's settling into its night rhythm lights coming on in windows. People coming home from work, the sound of TV, and music drifting through thin walls. My phone buzzes. Marcus in the group chat. You seeing this? I look out the window. Down in the courtyard, there's movement. More people than usual, small groups forming, talking, looking around. Another message from Marcus. Something's happening. I grab my jacket and head out. By the time I get downstairs, Marcus and Deco are already there. We stand together, watching. The courtyard's filling up, not with a crowd exactly, but with clusters of people. Some I recognize, some I don't. Everyone's talking in low voices. Everyone's watching. What's going on? I ask. Don't know. Marcus says, but it feels like something. And that's the worst part, not knowing, just feeling. That sense that the story is taken on a life of its own, that it's moving without us, that we're caught in something we didn't start and don't know how to stop. A car pulls up at the edge of the courtyard. 4 lads get out. I recognize one of them, Tyler. He sees us, says something to his friends, and they start walking in our direction. Here we go, Deco mutters. But before Tyler reaches us, another voice cuts through the evening air. Oi! We all turn. It's Mr. Reid again, walking quickly across the courtyard. He positions himself between us and Tyler's group. Not tonight, he says firmly. Not here. Not like this. Tyler stops. We're just talking. No, you're not. You're performing. You're feeding the story. And I'm telling you, not tonight. For a moment, everything hangs in balance. Tyler could push it, could make it something. But Mr. Reid's presence, his authority, his refusal to let this escalate, it changes the equation. Tyler shrugs. Whatever, we're not even bothered. He turns to his friends. Come on. They walk away. The tension doesn't disappear, but it shifts, becomes something else. Mr. Reid turns to us. You 3, come with me. We follow him to the community center. It's closed now, dark, but he has keys. He lets us in, leads us to his office, turns on the light. Sit, he says. We sit. Mr. Reid leans against his desk, looking at us. You understand what just happened out there? Tyler was trying to start something. Deco says. Tyler was responding to what everyone else has been building all day. The rumors, the expectations, the story. He probably didn't even want to be there. But everyone's been talking, everyone's been watching, and eventually the pressure to do something becomes too much. So what do we do? Marcus asks. You stop belonging to the story. You stop letting other people's expectations control your actions. You decide who you are and you stick to it no matter what anyone else says or thinks or expects. It sounds simple when he says it, but I know it's not. I know that choosing yourself over the story is one of the hardest things you can do. What if they don't let us? I ask. What if they keep pushing? Then you keep choosing every day, every moment. You keep choosing who you want to be over who they want you to be. And eventually the story dies, or it doesn't, but at least you're not trapped in it. We sit in silence for a moment. Outside, the estate continues its evening rhythm. Inside, we are three lads trying to work out how to be ourselves in a place that wants to make us into something else. Can I ask you something? Deco says. Go ahead. How do you know all this? How do you know what to do? Mr. Reid smiles, but it's sad. Because I've been where you are, because I've made the mistakes you're trying not to make, because I've seen what happens when you let the story claim you. He pauses. I grew up on an estate like this. Different city, same dynamics, and I spent years trying to prove I was someone I wasn't, trying to live up to expectations that had nothing to do with who I actually was. And you know what it got me? Nothing but wasted time and regrets. I've never heard Mr. Reid talk about himself before, never heard him share his own story, and somehow that makes everything he's been saying feel more real. So you're saying we should just ignore it all? Marcus asks. I'm saying you should be intentional, be deliberate, don't react, don't let other people's chaos become your chaos. Build the life you want, not the life everyone else expects. Deco nods slowly. That's what my sister was saying, about not feeding it. Your sister's smart. Listen to her. We leave the community center together, stepping back out into the evening. The courtyard's quieter now. Most people have gone inside. The groups have dispersed. The moment has passed, but I know it's not over. I know that tomorrow will bring more looks, more whispers, more pressure. I know that the story will keep trying to claim us. But maybe that's okay. Maybe the point isn't to end the story. Maybe the point is to keep choosing every day who we are in the middle of it. We walk toward our blocks, the three of us together. The estate rises around us, concrete and brick and glass. Thousands of lives stacked on top of each other. Everyone trying to survive, everyone trying to be someone. You know what's mad? Marcus says. Nothing actually happened, like literally nothing, and yet the whole day felt like everything. That's the power of story. That's what Mr. Reid's been trying to tell us. The story can be bigger than the truth, can feel more real than reality. So we just have to keep living the truth, Deco says, even when the story's louder. Yeah, I think that's exactly it. We reach the point where we split up, each heading to our own tower. For a moment, we just stand there, three lads on an estate, trying to work out how to be ourselves in a world that wants to make us into something else. Same time tomorrow? Marcus asked. Same time, I confirm. And we're good. Deco looks at both of us. We're solid? We're solid, I say. Always, Marcus adds. We bump fists, that simple gesture that means more than words. Then we separate, each walking toward our own front door, our own flat, our own family. I climb the 6 flights of stairs, my footsteps echoing in the stairwell. When I reach my floor, I pause at the window that looks out over the estate. From up here, you can see everything, the courtyard, the other blocks, the lights of the city beyond. Tomorrow, the story will still be there. The rumors will still be circulating. The pressure will still be present. But maybe, just maybe, we'll be a little bit stronger, a little bit clearer about who we are and who we want to be. Maybe that's all you can do. Keep choosing, keep standing, keep being yourself, even when the whole world wants to make you into something else. Maybe that's what it means to stand tall. I turn away from the window and head inside. Mum's home from work, tired but smiling. She asks about my day. I tell her it was fine. She doesn't need to know about the rest, doesn't need to carry that weight. We eat dinner together, just the two of us, talking about nothing important, and for a moment the story fades. For a moment I'm just me, just Jay, just a lad having dinner with his mum. But later, lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, I can feel it again. That weight, that pressure, that sense that tomorrow will bring more of the same, more watching, more measuring, more story. My phone buzzes, the group chat. Marcus, you awake? Me, yeah. Deco, can't sleep. Marcus, same. For a few minutes, we just send random messages, nothing deep, nothing heavy, just three friends connected by screens and friendship and the shared experience of trying to navigate something we don't fully understand. Eventually, the messages slow, stop. We all drift towards sleep. But before I do, I think about Mr. Reid's words about choosing, about being intentional, about not letting the story claim you. And I make a decision. Tomorrow, I'll choose. We'll choose. We'll keep choosing every day until the story loses its power, until we're just ourselves again, until we're free. Or at least that's the plan. We'll see if the estate lets us. End of episode 2.